Hey, this is Danny from Weird and Wired, and this right here is a Hondo II HD990 guitar. These are manufactured in Korea from 1980 to 1982, and as you can see, this one needs a bit of work to get it back up into playing shape. We've got a few parts that are missing. We've got missing a bridge, missing the original pickup, unfortunately, though we do still have the original sticker which tells us just what that pickup was. We do still have the coil split switch, which is something I'm really excited to see how this works with this single pickup guitar. Missing a machine head, missing a nut, but other than that, this isn't in bad shape for a 40-year-old guitar. So let's stick it on the workbench and get cracking.
First up was replacing the machine heads. I tried really hard to find an original replacement for this, but I just couldn't. I couldn't find anything that was an exact match either. So instead of just having one odd machine head, I decided to go ahead and replace all 6.
So aside from the pickup not being here anymore, all the other electronics seemingly are okay. We'll find out when we get this wired in. So Hondo, they would use either Dimarzio pickups for the kind of higher end models that they had, or they would use their own kind of versions of the same pickups. This was actually originally fitted with a Dimarzio K10 humbucker, which is pretty cool that it's still got the original sticker. Would have been even cooler if it still had the original pickup, because they're not too easy to come by. But this is an Artec Alnico 5 humbucker, which is very similar to the same thing, and I want to give a big shout out to a Facebook group which I am absolutely addicted to at the minute. It is called Underdog Obscure, Trashy and Cool Guitar and Amps, and you can tell by the title that this is the kind of place for it. You get loads of cool stuff, and people there are so knowledgeable. If you need to find out anything about an obscure instrument you've come across, or you just want to check out some cool stuff, then I highly recommend to check it out. And one of the admins of the page pointed me in the direction of this pickup, so huge thanks to them. Definitely go check it out.
Opening up the back of the guitar, I could see that the previous wiring had just been snipped out rather than actually using a soldering iron. This isn't the cleanest way of doing it, but it did allow me to see how this was wired up beforehand.
As you can hear, it's making noise. It's not always making noise, so I'm not sure if it seems to be either the input and or possibly the tone part, which gives me a bit of grief, so let's sort that out. So our input jack problems are quickly answered. There's just a whole lot of corrosion all over the shop on this, so I'm going to go ahead, pop a new 1/4" jack on there. Input sorted, just crackle city going on with these pots. Sometimes a bit of lubricator usually does the trick, so I'm going to do that now. The coil split, I wired it up the same as it was already, and I don't really seem to be doing anything on one half of it, so I'm going to double check, because I'm pretty certain it's meant to be a coil split and not a kill switch. Maybe I've got that wrong? Let's find out.
So the mystery of the coil split not working comes down to a solder joint which had come loose when I was putting the toggle switch back in place. The wire from this particular humbucker to that part of the body where the toggle switch is located was a real tight squeeze. It was a fairly standard length wire as well for a bridge humbucker, so if you are going to be doing this project like for like, something to bear in mind that is very, very small area to work on. And as for the volume and tone pots, I lubricated them, and it did really help with the crackle, really minimized it, but it was still present, and I wasn't 100% happy with it, so I did go ahead and I replaced both pots. It came down to a very fine line that I usually find myself in with these projects of how original do you want to keep it and how playable do you want to make it. For me personally, replacing these pots was the last step I wanted to take in terms of adding new parts to this guitar, but it totally varies from project to project. I'd be really intrigued to know what you guys think. Would you have done as much work as I've done on this? Would you have done more? Would you have done less? Let me know. And as for how this sounds now that it's all back up in action, let's have a listen. So there we have it, the Hondo II HD990. This thing is back in action, it's got a new lease of life and it's ready to rock once again, because I'm pretty sure that's what this thing was built to do. It's certainly where I think it shines the most. It is not a particularly flashy guitar, it is just straight to business with this thing. The Artec humbucker, I think it does a great job. I'd love to do a sound comparison with a Dimarzio K10, or if you're watching this and you're more familiar with the sound of the K10, do let me know whether this is a close sound, whether it's way off the mark. I'd love to know either way. The coil split gives it some really nice Fender Strat twang to it. I think it sounds especially good on the cleaner side of things. When you are using this clean, using the coil split, you can notice there is a volume dip, which is nothing unusual because essentially what you're doing is cutting the pickup in half, though you can combat this by using a compressor, or on the kind of high gain settings it's not as noticeable, to me personally anyway. But let me know what you guys think. Do you dig the look of this? Do you dig the sound? Do you have one of these which is maybe slightly more original than what this has turned out to be? I'd love to know your thoughts and feelings, and until the next time, keep it weird and keep it wired.
Weird and wired.